Hey, this is Brian, the main contributor to the Smart Connections Obsidian plugin, and I'm about to go through the different GitHub issues that I have been unable to respond to. It takes a lot of time to read through the issues and formulate a good response, so I'm hoping that by recording my process, you can see what I'm thinking as I'm coming up with the response, and hopefully that will provide you with more insights on what the future of smart connections look like, and also answer whatever questions it is that you had in the issue itself. Thanks for watching, and let's get started. Okay, issue number 152. Support for local LLMs. I'm happy to report that this has been a feature, since version 2.1. Closing as local model configuration has been a V2.1. So that is pretty simple. Excited to get these issues closed. Okay, I don't know, we might be 30, 40, 50 down today, and I see 252 open issues to go. Okay, I might not get through, please let me know if you like these videos. I'll make sure to get through them all, especially if people appreciate these responses. I mean, otherwise, it takes me about the same amount of time to go in and formulate a text response. I don't think it does the community justice to try to just AI my way through this. I think I'm going to be adding the links to these videos, at the end of this recording process. When I'm publishing the videos, I use the transcript to generate a description, title, for the video. So I'll probably generate a little snippet to add based on the conversation we're having here about the issue. But I've thought a lot about, connecting basically just GitHub to my notes. I mean, I have so many, like whether it's completed tasks that are relevant to each of these, but as far as like why I've chosen to do it this way is because, Smart Connections is a community supported project. So, this is one way I think I can give back to the community by, instead of just, providing the minimal factual response, hopefully giving you an insight into, like, why am I making these decisions, for the various aspects of the project, like these little tidbits that you might, better understand now, whether it's about embeddings or models or, new types of models like re-ranker models or, why I'm not just focusing 100% on local generative models. In another video I mentioned, it's unfortunately just inaccessible at this point. I have, some community members that are using primarily local models, like for chat, but they are running on $10,000 plus Mac computers. Like other people might be able to build something, like some sort of Linux, some other sort of hardware that might be less expensive than the Mac you would need to run these, anything close to capable to GPT-4. So like for now, as far as like privacy is concerned, how can you provide the AI only with the most relevant, important context that's going to enable you to get your desired result? That's the goal of the smart environment. That's the goal of Smart Connections. You're going to be able to use local embedding models already. Most hardware supports the BGE micro embedding model. That's the 80-20 for privacy. Like when you're chatting with the AI, you're limited to what you can send to those generative models based on their input maximum context, which is relatively small compared to the total number of tokens in your entire Obsidian vault. So happy that we can check off this local LLM feature, but unfortunately, it's something that I think most people will not be able to take advantage of, simply because while I'm sure you can get a Mistral 7B model running, and there's I'm sure plenty of instances where you can have some sort of effective, like some sort of valuable chat, with the 7B model. I just I don't think it's worth it's not worth investing in too much, so at this point, if you can afford these top tier models, you're going to be able to provide it with less context. So like that 7 billion parameter model that might run on your computer, you're going to be limited to how much context you can provide it. If you were able to provide it, 200,000 tokens of input like you can with the Anthropic models, that's one of the reasons why I like Anthropic's Haiku model, because it's like relatively cheap and you can still give it a context of, that many tokens of input. So even though the model isn't as powerful, as like the Opus model or even the Sonnet 3.5 model, that 200K input tokens makes a big difference. And, as far as I'm aware, even with the 7 billion parameter model, it'd be surprising to me if you can have a context window that size. A lot of it, falls back to memory. And then, for any sort of, like fast local model, you're going to want to use a GPU, and then you're limited to how much memory that GPU has. The Macs have like a shared memory RAM model, so that makes those that platform okay for running the models. But okay, let's get to the next issue. I'm just going to end this one here.